heard
We've been lots of parts.
phenomenal things about that. I think we're gonna try and go to just Kentucky.
Have you been to Louisville?
Yeah.
Louisville's a good city.
Phenomenal things about it, and other things, of course.
Well, my son and kids lived in Louisville for 4 years when he was teaching there. We spent a lot of time there.
So you think that's a cool place to
I
go?
like Louisville a lot. There's a lot of good restaurants. Best Cuban restaurant ever. Not Key West, Florida, it's in Louisville, Kentucky. But
Louisville's
they
right.
have a lot of old
Old.
town businesses, you know, it kind of reminds me a little bit of Austin before,
Right, before the
before
surge.
the law, you know.
Yeah. Well,
It's got nice public parks too. Their public parks were designed by the same Frederick Olmsted that
Oh, yeah.
designed the Central Park in New York City.
yep.
So
All right,
anyway,
all right. Well, we'll see. Of course, the closer and closer we get to actually doing it, like, it's just not.
it's a lot of effort.
Worst travelers.
All time or
You don't-
gonna drive
you
it slow.
We would drive.
Yeah.
And we'd go to Nashville and see my friend, some friends, and then go on to there and then kind of come back through Nashville.
After a while, we managed to miss Nashville because every time we went through Nashville, we got in a traffic jam. I don't know if it was just our timing or what, but.
Well, they live outside of Nashville, actually, Burns. It'd be a good stopping point. for
They
them.
were there 4 years and so we
How
went
fun, though.
twice a year, every year. So.
So you really got to see some of it. That's great.
Oh, good. I think it's time. So I think we have a couple of council members remotely attending. Councilmember Pearson and Mayor Lee, thanks for attending. I know it's a different time in London. Thanks for getting up in the middle of the night, David. So we'll go ahead and this evening, pledge allegiance, Daniel Butcher, the Texas pledge by James Grant, and the invocation by Dave Cumberland.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Please bow with me. Father, we love you. We thank you for another beautiful day and another chance to live here in Belton, Texas. We're so blessed. We thank you for your love for us and your care and your provision and protection. Pray that you give us wisdom tonight as we consider the business of the city. Thank you most of all for your son, Jesus. It's in his name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you. All right. Go ahead and call to order the city council meeting, Tuesday, July 9th, 2024, 5:30 p.m. at the right room of the Harris Center. Public comments. I don't believe we've had anybody sign up for public comments. Thank you. We'll go ahead and proceed with the proclamation for Parks and Recreation Month, July 2024. Amy, where would you like me for this proclamation? Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Since it's zero, so
I'll tell you what, I get staying with a great group here, and I'm gonna get close over here and help me out if I stumble through this, but Office of the Mayor proclamation, whereas Parks and Recreation is a vital part of our well-being in Belton. Whereas Parks and Recreation areas ensure ecological beauty for our community and provide a place for citizens to connect with nature and outdoor recreation. And whereas Parks and Rec advocate for time spent in nature, which positively impacts mental health by increasing cognitive performance, alleviates illness such as depression, attention deficit disorder, and Alzheimer's. And whereas Parks and Rec encourages physical activity by providing space for popular sports, hiking trails, playgrounds, water play, and other City of Belton Parks and Rec programs designed to promote active lifestyles. And whereas our parks and natural recreation areas improve water quality, protect underground water, improve the quality of air we breathe, provide green space and habitat for wildlife, and whereas our Parks and ensure the ecological beauty of our community and provide a place for children and adults to connect with nature. And whereas the city of Belton recognizes the benefits derived from parks and rec resources. Now, therefore, I, John R. Holmes, Mayor Pro Tem of the city of Belton, do hereby proclaim the month of July 2024 as Park and Rec Month. And I do attest, that, as we're out in the community and riding our bike and absorbing vitamin D, that we do feel much healthier, invigorated, and we absolutely love our parks. Thanks so much for all you guys do. You all do that.
Thank you, Mayor Council. Couple things that we have planned for this week during Parks and Rec Month are we have an appreciation luncheon for our Parks Board and our Park staff, which is this Friday. We also have this Parks tour that's coming up. We'll bring up our recreation coordinator. She's going to tell us a little bit about that real quick. Papers you have in front of you.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm. I love it.
Hello, everyone. So
Hi.
my name is Lacey. I'm the rec coordinator. We kicked off today actually with our Belton Parks tour at Miller Springs. The quick information about our Belton Parks tour was a really cool collaboration with a few different departments, but our goal is to get the community out to our 4 different tour stops throughout the Belton Parks tour to kind of highlight all the really cool recreation opportunities that we have in our parks. And so each park has, you'll see a little sticker or a little picture next to each of the different 4 stops. If you come out to an activity, you get to collect one of those stickers, and they go on this really awesome map that was drawn by Mario Hinajos in Public Works. And if you can complete the parks map, then you get a coveted Parks Tour official t-shirt. All of our parks are listed on the back. So really awesome response. I've actually had to close down some activities already because we're at max capacity. So yeah, if you're out in the parks one of these days, you too could also get stickers and complete the map.
Love it.
Thank
Very,
you.
very good.
Thank you, guys. Not only are parks so enjoyed by our citizens, but neighboring citizens I know enjoy our trails, parks. I think we have a movie night in the park coming up soon. Yeah, awesome. So excited about that, and that's a great event. So thank you for all you guys do.
Can I make a comment?
Sure, please
Is
do.
this appropriate time that I might just say a quick comment to the Parks team? Don't worry, John, it won't be long. But we also just hosted several thousand people in our community for the 4th of July celebration and the 100-year celebration of the rodeo. Our parks looked amazing. I know a little bit about what the work goes into that. Our team from Public Works to Parks, I know all fire and police, and I just wanted to say a quick thank you, and maybe that's planned later, but I just wanted to say thank you because you all really roll out the red carpet for everyone that comes in for that event, and it's noticed, and I just wanted to say thank you, and I'm sure I speak for everyone, but
No,
not going to.
And thank you so
I'm
much,
not.
Stephanie. I do kind of get a little focused here and forget about this past week a little bit, and what an absolute success Belton had celebrating the 4th of July. And I honestly do not know of a better place in the country to come and enjoy the red, white, and blue, the parade, the festivities in the park. The hot dog eating contest was not a big success as some had hoped for.
Did you lose?
Uh,
Oh,
I think I got
kidding.
5th out of 6, out of 6, but was competitive. But the park was amazing. The bridge that was constructed or put up worked so well. And we just rolled out the red carpet, and actually you roll out the red carpet, and we appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for all you do. What a
Thank you.
success. Thank you for reminding me of it, Stephanie.
Sure.
Agenda item number 4, consider the minutes of the June 25th, 2024 city council meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Minutes are approved. Agenda item number 5, consider award of bid and authorize the BEDC Executive Director to execute a contract with Gage and Cade Construction for the construction of West Avenue D Extension Loop 121 to Kennedy Court, and any change orders associated with the contract not to exceed the amount authorized under state law. Cynthia?
Great, thank you.
Everybody
So
great.
as you may recall, we have been talking about this project since 2018. This is a product of a traffic impact analysis that was conducted in the business park back in 2017. And so we know at that time we knew we needed a solution for the traffic at Loop 121 and Avenue D. And so we began planning an extension. Later, TxDOT came along, or maybe they came along before then. We don't know, but I don't know. You probably know, Matt. But anyway, TxDOT came along and determined that they were going to widen Loop 121 and put a raised median down the center of Loop 121, which then helped us realize truly the importance of the Avenue D extension, as the TxDOT widening project was going to limit how you entered in the business park using Powell Avenue. As we started with the plans, we later decided to work with TxDOT, or maybe we were appreciative to be able to work with TxDOT on the intersection, as we had some challenges with right-of-way acquisition, and it also helped us to be able to finance the project. TxDOT decided they would handle the intersection component. But with that, there was a delay in the project. And so the EDC said, okay, we're not going to construct the road. We want to be able to roll that out along with the Loop 121 widening four-way intersection. And so in in May, the board authorized the EDC to move forward with the construction phase of the project. And so what you see in this slide is the entirety of the project. Everything in gray is what BEDC will be funding. The purple is the TxDOT project. So you have Avenue D going west, and then it'll turn into Jones Road and eventually intersect with Powell Avenue. As part of this project, in addition to the road improvements, we are also doing infrastructure improvements. And so you can see here along Avenue D, this includes the water extension, wastewater extension, and drainage improvements on Avenue D, and then also on the Jones Road as well. So we advertised for bids in May. We had 3 contractors submit bids. We had the bid opening on June 13th. And the bids that were received range from 2.4 million to 2.6 million. KPA's final opinion of probable cost was 2.8 million for the project. The lowest bid came in at 2.4 million, and I am missing a number there, but that's 2,445,445 is what that should read. So KPA's completed the due diligence on this, as has the city of Belton, and in your packet, you received also a letter of recommendation from KPA and the resumes for the contractor that we're recommending for the bid award, Cage and I'm saying that wrong. Yeah, Gage and Cade Construction from Bertram, Texas. And the EDC currently has $1.6 million in the capital fund for this project. But we also have reserves of $943,000. And so with that, we have adequate funding to proceed with construction. And so we took this to the board in July, and the board authorized the award to Gage and Cade Construction, and we're asking the council's consideration in doing the same. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Cynthia. Any questions or discussion? I do know that the BEDC and KPA thoroughly vetted the vendor, thoroughly vetted multi-levels of staff and any interaction. And so very well done. So no concern about that at all.
Signage for Belton Business Park? Will that be new signage or?
So we've not talked about that in full detail, but there has been some discussion. We were not sure if the signage at Powell Avenue would have to be replaced due to the Loop 121 widening. We weren't sure what the final outcome was going to be there, but we do have some funds set aside to either replace that sign or possibly do something at the Avenue D intersection.
Good question.
Yeah, I just want to make sure nobody's missing, because there's a divider from Powell now, there will be, right?
Yes.
Unless everybody, if they just go make U-turns, not knowing where that road goes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get them?
Get it?
Is that a motion?
I'll motion to approve agenda item number 5 as presented.
All right, motion
Second.
and a second. All right, so all those in favor of awarding the bid and authorizing BDC executive director to execute contract with Gage and K Construction. Please affirm, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Thank you for bailing me out there. I'll do a little blank. Thank you, Cynthia. Agenda item number 6, receive the FY 2025 annual budget for the city of Belton. Mike.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and Council. As these get more exciting as we move along, first we got Bob Van Til back from after his accident, and now we have Mayor Lee staying up late in another country. This is just good stuff. So here we are tonight, presenting the budget officially. And I want to kind of go through the funds again very quickly to kind of tell you where we landed. First, the most significant changes in 2025 are all related to the utility fund, water and sewer. We have 2 very large projects, that water treatment plant expansion, as well as the sewer treatment plant expansion. That's a total, our share of that is a total of $40 million, which is a very large number. And so that's increasing our debt service costs for the utility. As a result of that, primarily our water and sewer rates are going to have to increase. After adding 18 positions in 2024, we're only adding 2 positions in 2025. Those 2 positions are park superintendent position in the general fund and a maintenance tech 1 in water and sewer. I mentioned before that it's time for us to renew our health insurance policy. We're likely to see a very large increase there. We're budgeting 30%, hoping to get it down from there as we go through the RFP process. In the general fund and debt service fund. So as we've built this budget, the revenue from property taxes reflects the no new revenue tax rate, at least what we expect it could be, around 53.09 cents per $100 of taxable value. That's down from 53.26 in the current fiscal year. That number, again, that's just based upon preliminary values at this time. We'll get certified values at the end of July and then refine that number there. We did increase our annual street maintenance by 5% to $1,050,000 in fiscal 25. And City Council, as we went through the process of discussing these, all of our funds, expressed a concern for idle fund balance that's just sitting there. So in 2025, 6 of our 9 budgeted funds will actually draw down reserves. Still okay, but that's the plan. A planned drawdown of reserves. So big picture, all funds. Let's do it that way. So the revenues in fiscal 2024 are just over 48 million. That'll grow to 51 million or in 2025, 6.1% increase on a budget to budget basis. Expenditures grow by 1.2 million to 48,666,000, or 2.6% increase in expenditures. Now looking at the general fund resources or revenues, it's called resources because we plan on drawing down general fund reserves by $530,000 in 2025. Total resources grow from 23,552 to 24,913,000 in 2025. On the expenditure side of the general fund expenditures will also grow from 23,552 to 24,913. The biggest increase there is related to personnel. And that's generally the case every single year. On the debt service fund, we're planning on drawing down 27,000 of reserves there. Expenditures grow from 1,205,000 to 1,206,000, essentially flat for 2025. Moving on to our hotel motel occupancy tax fund. That fund plans to spend $407,000 in 2025. Revenues, though, are expected to increase at a greater amount to 524, 240 in 2025. Our tax increment reinvestment zone fund. This revenue that you see there comes from contributions from both the city and the county, and that's growing in 2025. Total revenues are $3,630,000. Expenditures also grow by $300,000 to $3,348,000. And just worth noting that the TERS will transfer just over $3 million for some significant capital projects that are coming. Connell Street design is 700 of that, 700,000 of that. The Loop 121 phase 2 of that project is another $1 million of that 3 million. But that's what this fund does. It pays for capital projects. Water and sewer, as I mentioned, is our big player for 2025. So water revenues are expected to increase around 20% as we increase rates for 2025. Again, we have that large debt service increase I'll show you shortly. Sewer revenues, though, will be around flat when compared to the 2024 estimate. Although we'll have an increase, we may have an increase in sewer rates. Remember, we plan on implementing that winter averaging, which will offset some of that revenue gain. In the water and sewer fund, we do plan on drawing down reserves by $162,000 in 2025. So although the revenues increase, the expenses in the water and sewer fund do the same, growing from 13,830 to 14,550. Here's your big ones that are causing that increase. So you see that water purchases grows from 1.9 million to 3.9 million. That's our share of the debt of the water plant expansion. The debt service on that is the increase there for the $2 million. And then our debt service that we'll have to issue then for the sewer treatment plant expansion also grows in 2025. That's this increase that you see from 1.9 million in 2025 to 2.8, in 2024, to 2.8 million in 2025.
I'm just curious, why is the debt service for water under water purchases?
That's a great question. Thank you. That debt is not city debt. That debt is our share of bonds that were issued by BCWCID, the water district. They roll that into our monthly invoice. So our monthly invoice has two components. It has an operations component and then our share of this debt service. We call it all cost of water because ultimately it's all cost of water. And that's why we put it there, to distinguish between our debt and another entity's debt. Our debt is reflected here under this debt service section. Our other utility is the drainage fund. This fund has revenues and expenditures in 2025 of $665,290. Moving on then to our two internal service funds. So the IT fund's going to use $212,000 in 2025 to pay for that $243,000 of capital outlay. Remember, this fund must accumulate reserves over time to make those very large purchases in the future. In this case, in 2025, there's a whole lot of servers and switches, I think, and that sort of stuff. And that's why you see that use of reserves in 2025. Our other one is the building maintenance fund. This fund, $489,000 of resources and expenditures. Again, we're going to draw down reserves slightly in 2025 to pay for those expenses in 2025. The last fund then that we'll talk about is our EDC. EDC revenues are increasing $200,000 to $3,768,000. Sales tax revenues, we're projecting a 3% increase over 2024's estimate. This decline that you see here from $4.6 million in 2024 to our budget in 2025 is related to that miscellaneous income 1.3. That's a land purchase. a land sale that happened during 2024. In 2025, you'll see this large decline here from 1.3 million to $50,000. That $1.3 million that you see here was due to land acquisition that happened in fiscal 24. So those may not happen in 2025, so we're not budgeting for those items. And also, it's good to note that EDC is setting aside $1.1 million for future capital projects there as well. So all in, total resources increased by around $3 million from 48 to 51 million. Of that total increase in resources, $1 million is what we're using out of reserves for all the funds combined. That pays for these expenses that you see. So expenses are increasing about $1.2 million from 47.4 to 48.6 million. Again, as I mentioned before, your big increases are there in water purchases, here in debt service for that sewer treatment plant bond that we'll have to issue in the future. And then you have some personnel costs there. So this is the formal presentation of the proposed budget, but we're not done yet. We still have some things coming. One is we will get a certified tax roll at the end of July. And so we may tweak our property tax revenues based upon those tax rate discussions that we're going to have in the future. We may also change our water sewer revenues a little bit based upon whatever rate structure that City Council wants to go with beginning in 2025. That item is going to come back to you hopefully at our next council meeting when we'll have that discussion again. So put these dates on your calendar, please. You don't have to do this first one, but July 25 is when the law requires us to get a certified tax roll. It'll be probably sometime that week. In August, that first meeting in August, we'll present the strategic plan, and at that time, we'll propose a property tax rate and schedule a public hearing. August 27 is when we'll have public hearings on the budget, strategic plan, and the fee schedule. And then finally, on September the 10th is when we will have our public hearing on a tax rate. We'll adopt our budget, the strategic plan, fee schedule, and the tax rate all on that night. I'll encourage everybody to go here, get your camera out and go to that QR code. This will take you exactly to the electronic version of our proposed budget that's available for you. It's a beautiful document. My staff puts in a lot of time for it. So if nothing else, please read the budget message, the manager's message, we also call it. That's about 10 pages long or so, and you'll get a very good feel for the budget and everything that's included in that. I'll leave you with questions and comments. Be happy to answer anything that you have.
Mike, what's the difference in anticipated revenues between what you presented 2 weeks ago and what you're presenting tonight?
Well, the biggest changes were related to, we did the property tax change. Remember, we had to go back after we had our discussion on the general fund. We talked about drawing down those reserves in the general fund. And so we ended up coming back at the end of the presentation for another presentation. We updated that with new expenditures for the general fund. And then also my initial estimate of a no new revenue rate was like 53.20 something or 53.12 or something. And then we decided that was close enough to the no new revenue rate. We might as well go down to no new revenue. The rest of the changes are really more water and sewer related. I have not changed any of those revenue figures just yet because we haven't finished our discussion on the utility rates. That didn't really answer your question completely. Everything you're seeing here essentially is just with the exceptions that I mentioned before of what we changed, everything that you've seen before. That's just a rehash of the same information.
Mike, if we stick with the no new revenue rate, do you know the estimated property tax that will be generated from new properties?
I think that number Well, that number actually is on the first page of that budget. If you use that QR code, you'll see it. It's like $400,000, $460,000, I believe is the revenue that we kind of expect from new value. I think the last number that I saw on new value was about 79 million of new value. When you put a tax rate to that, I think it's around 400 and something. You'll see more of that in the coming weeks. Anything else?
$420,000.
Okay, there you go. Thanks for looking at that. Flip through the rest of it. It's good stuff.
It is good.
Any other questions, comments? Mike, I wanted to also thank everyone for participating in the extra sessions for the water study and hashing out that info. And I know that from that, there was also a focused or emphasis on minimal impact to low water users.
Yes, sir.
Volumetric. And so I hope we stick with that and are able to keep not impact the some elderly or single resident homes who just don't use much.
Correct.
I'm very, very sensitive to that. And then also one other note that I had, when we approve the budget, can we also, and I don't know what it takes, but amend the water and sewer budget requirement? I think now we're required to have a percentage in excess of plus 1 year of debt service. I sure would like to.
We
clean
could
that up
certainly
as
do
soon
that.
as possible.
That
I don't know
that's
if it's a
not,
charter change or.
it's
what-
not. It's a simple financial policy change. We adopt our policies annually. All of the financial policies, typically in December. If at a minimum, I'll bring that back to you then. If you want to do that as part of adopting the budget, I could do that if you want to, if that's what you prefer.
You just clean that up and, our debt service has really, really grown.
Correct.
For water and sewer, and it's a significant amount, and to be required to hold that in reserve plus 30% is an awful lot of money.
It's an ultra conservative number. You're correct.
I agree with John. I think we need to go ahead and clean that up.
Okay.
Good. Any other questions or comments? David, Craig?
Let me hit the unmute. No, I've really enjoyed the process. It's been a little bit more work in some individual sessions, but getting to this point, and we're in July, and it's really just tweaking. So again, kudos to everyone who's been involved and gotten their input to the staff, and thanks to the staff for being so responsive.
Mike, have you seen any other cities around the area talking about what they're going to set their tax rate at yet?
It's premature. They're just now getting to that time of submitting a proposed budget. The county and the larger cities that probably have to adopt a rate in August, we're going to start hearing from them. And so I'm going to keep my eye on that and keep you apprised of what others are proposing.
All right, we'll move on then. Agenda item number 7, call for a public hearing on the proposed FY 2025 annual budget for the city of Belton.
Staff recommends calling a public hearing at a regular council meeting on August the 27th at 5:30 p.m. Harris Community Center to discuss the fiscal year 2025 proposed annual budget.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to approve that day and time as presented.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Same time. Unanimous. So we'll set that budget hearing for August 27th of 2024.
Thank you.
And I believe that's all of our agenda items for this evening. We'll go ahead and drop the hammer. Meeting adjourned. Thank you,
Not a
everyone.
record time, my budget.
Boom.
Good job.